Welcome to another captivating episode of Conveniently Unspoken, the channel committed to uncovering the enigmas of history. In this episode, we embark on an exploration of events that unfolded in the aftermath of World War I. When examined collectively, these events may provide insights into the Illuminati's enduring commitment to shaping a new world order. In tandem with these historical occurrences, the proliferation of communism, the ascent of totalitarianism, the establishment of security states, and the strategic use of mass media for propagandistic purposes laid the groundwork for the Illuminati to maneuver into the subsequent phase of their global dominion plan. In 1919, the Treaty of Versailles marked the official conclusion of World War I. This treaty was the outcome of negotiations at the Paris Peace Conference, which commenced in January 1919. Its terms imposed substantial reparations on Germany, generating widespread resentment and economic hardship within the country. Germany bore responsibility for the war's damages and was obligated to make reparations payments to the Allies. The precise sum, determined in 1921, amounted to a staggering 132 billion gold marks, equivalent to $33 billion US. This immense financial burden significantly contributed to Germany's economic woes. The combination of these reparations-induced economic hardships and prevailing political instability set the stage for the emergence of radical ideologies in Germany, most notably the Nazi Party, led by Adolf Hitler, fueled by revenge. In President Woodrow Wilson's 14-point plan, which laid the foundation for the League of Nations, Point 13 proposed that Poland should have free and secure access to the sea. President Wilson advocated for Danzig to be incorporated into Poland, a position supported by French Prime Minister Georges Clemenceau. However, British Prime Minister David Lloyd George vehemently opposed this idea, arguing that it would be unjust to forcibly transfer a city with a predominantly German population, reaching up to 90%, into Polish territory. Interestingly, Lloyd George was also the driving force behind the Balfour Declaration, a public statement issued by the British government in 1917 that endorsed the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, then under Ottoman rule. This declaration played a pivotal role in shaping the course of the Zionist movement and ultimately led to the creation of the State of Israel. Funny how his position changes when it doesn't benefit the Rothschild plan. After World War I, strong isolationist sentiment prevailed in the United States. Many Americans believed the country should avoid international conflicts and focus on domestic affairs, viewing League of Nations membership as potentially entangling the U.S. in foreign disputes and wars. Concerns among U.S. senators and politicians about the League compromising American sovereignty were widespread. They feared the League's decisions might supersede U.S. laws and government decisions. Consequently, the U.S. Senate rejected the Treaty of Versailles, leading the United States to abstain from League of Nations membership. The League of Nations encountered multiple challenges that undermined its effectiveness, ultimately dissolving on April 20, 1946. In this post-war landscape, Europe lay devastated by years of conflict, with many countries experiencing plummeting GDPs. Meanwhile, the United States emerged relatively unscathed, solidifying its position as a major global power, with institutions like the Council on Foreign Relations playing pivotal roles. The CFR, founded in 1921, is a prominent American think tank focusing on foreign policy and international affairs. Over the years, the CFR has played a significant role in shaping U.S. foreign policy discussions, drawing together a diverse group of members from various fields, including academia, government, media, business, and nonprofit organizations. Many CFR members have held key government positions, including presidents, cabinet members, and ambassadors. However, the CFR has not been without controversy. Critics have raised concerns about allegations of elitism, influence over policy decisions, and transparency issues. Some conspiracy theories suggest that the CFR is part of a secretive global elite that wields significant influence over world events, including economics, politics, and international affairs. These theories often claim that CFR members control governments and manipulate global policies behind the scenes, benefiting from war and military interventions. There have also been allegations that the CFR influences U.S. foreign policy decisions to favor corporations and industries associated with its members. In 1967, Myron Fagan accused the CFR of being a tool for the Illuminati, alleging their involvement in orchestrating major historical events to establish a new world order. This theory posits that their influence extends into various aspects of society, including politics, economics, and media. Prominent individuals associated with the CFR, such as John Foster Dulles, Henry Kissinger, Hillary Clinton, George H.W. Bush, Allen Dulles, and David Rockefeller, have been linked to various conspiracy theories, including covert actions, regime changes, assassinations, and efforts to establish a new world order. These claims continue to fuel discussions and debates about the CFR's role in global affairs and its potential impact on world events and policies. Up until this point, there are allegations that the Illuminati has established an international coalition, often referred to as a New World Order, through the League of Nations. They purportedly unified international elites to shape the future of global affairs. These elites are believed to be responsible for controlling and disseminating what some might call our reality, using evolving media technologies. Before dismissing this claim as mere facetiousness, consider a reference to Plato's allegory of the cave. In this philosophical allegory, prisoners are confined in a cave, only able to perceive shadows on its walls, symbolizing their limited understanding of reality. When one prisoner escapes and discovers the genuine world outside, they return to enlighten their fellow prisoners. However, the others reject this newfound knowledge and cling to their preconceived perceptions. This allegory explores themes of enlightenment, ignorance, and the difficulty of grasping deeper truths beyond superficial appearances. When we are presented with only one truth, particularly the one purportedly provided by organizations like the CFR through targeted media propaganda, we may find ourselves living within the perception they have carefully orchestrated. By inundating the masses with international events, they divert attention from the actions of the elite, who exert influence over our domestic lives. This narrative unfolds as governments worldwide establish security states to maintain control and counter perceived threats. Authorities control the flow of information, censoring content deemed harmful or unpatriotic. This censorship allows them to shape public access to specific viewpoints and ideas. Following World War I, mass media, including radio and newspapers, emerged as potent tools to mold public opinion and propagate ideologies. Media outlets played pivotal roles in framing policy discussions, directing public attention towards particular issues, and thus influencing policymakers' decisions. Notably, major media corporations in the 1920s, such as the Radio Corporation of America, RCA, and the National Broadcasting Company, NBC, were predominantly owned by General Electric, a company associated with J.P. Morgan. The post-World War I era witnessed the ascendancy of sophisticated propaganda campaigns and political messaging. Information dissemination aimed to sway public perceptions and beliefs. Mass media outlets were instrumental in fostering feelings of nationalism and patriotism, especially in the aftermath of the war, by highlighting the nation's sacrifices and celebrating its achievements. Simultaneously, they employed negative portrayals and imagery to vilify and demonize enemy nations, reinforcing stereotypes and justifying wartime actions. Visual imagery and symbolism became powerful tools, effectively evoking emotions and conveying messages without solely relying on written text. In sum, the post-World War I period marked a significant advancement in the strategic use of mass media to influence public perception, promote ideologies, and shape the trajectory of society. Now, the same clandestine forces operating behind the scenes needed a means to suppress dissenting voices and counter ideologies that ran contrary to those carefully crafted for mass consumption. Enter the FBI. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, initially established on July 26, 1908, as the Bureau of Investigation under the Department of Justice, played a pivotal role in post-World War I America. During this period, the FBI undertook a range of activities aimed at monitoring, quelling, and managing dissenters and political activists. These years were characterized by growing concerns about political radicalism, labor strikes, and the proliferation of socialist and communist ideologies. One significant chapter in this narrative was the Palmer Raids, a series of law enforcement operations led by Attorney General A. Mitchell Palmer in 1919 and 1920. These raids specifically targeted suspected anarchists, socialists, and radicals, leading to numerous arrests and even deportations without due process. The Palmer Raids faced sharp criticism for their disregard of civil liberties and the rights of those ensnared in the crackdown. The passage of the Espionage Act of 1917 and the Sedition Act of 1918 further underscored the government's efforts to suppress anti-government sentiment during World War I, essentially criminalizing criticism of the government itself. The FBI wielded these acts as tools to target activists, journalists, and organizations critical of government policies, effectively stifling opposition. The FBI also conducted extensive surveillance on labor unions, socialist groups, and political activists. Agents infiltrated meetings, gatherings, and rallies to gather intelligence on individuals and organizations deemed potential threats to government stability and national security. Some individuals were even deported on the basis of their political beliefs rather than any criminal activities. While some of these actions were ostensibly taken in the name of national security, they raised significant concerns about civil liberties, due process, and the right to free speech and assembly. This period is often regarded as a complex chapter in the history of political repression, highlighting the delicate balance between security measures and individual rights. A recurring theme emerges, wherein the populace tends to gradually relinquish fragments of their remaining freedoms in exchange for promises of enhanced security. This process would lay the groundwork for the emergence of security states. Simultaneously, mass media, encompassing radio and newspapers, was harnessed as a tool to shape public opinion and disseminate carefully crafted ideologies. On the global stage, international organizations under centralized entities began to take shape. The rise of ideologies such as communism and fascism, the burden of war debt in Europe, increasing support for the Zionist movement, and the establishment of a homeland in Palestine were all indicative of the first phase of Albert Pike's plan for a new world order. The stage was set for the subsequent mobilization toward Phase 2, the Second World War. That wraps up this episode for today. If you found this video intriguing, please show your support by liking, sharing, subscribing to our channel, and hitting the notification bell to stay informed about new content. And always remember, the truth may often remain conveniently unspoken, but the quest for it is undeniably worthwhile.